From Washington, D.C., I'm Allister. This is Washington Watch, a weekly roundup of the biggest stories from the United States and beyond.
They give you a question that's not appropriate. Just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly.
Trump targets former President Barack Obama, accusing him of treason as pressure mounts on his administration to release details on people connected to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This week also had the Justice Department questioning Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, for a second day in a row. A first for any G7 country, France says it will recognize Palestine as a state. French President Emmanuel Macron's position is likely to irk the Trump administration. His comments come as more than 100 international aid and human rights groups warn of mass starvation in Gaza. Meanwhile, U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff has quit ceasefire talks, accusing Hamas of acting in bad faith.
Go too far here. It's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work. It's
a rare public confrontation between President Trump and the head of the U.S. Central Bank. The tussle, the renovation costs of the Federal Reserve building. Trump's trip to the Fed is the first such visit by a sitting president in 20 years. In recent days, Trump has called Powell a numbskull and has floated the idea of firing him. The Trump administration is proposing massive changes to how skilled worker visas are awarded. Instead of a random lottery, H-1B visas could go to applicants with seniority and higher wages, those who stand to lose junior-level hires. The Trump administration is reportedly seeking deals with other universities after Columbia agreed to pay over $200 million to restore lost federal funding after the White House accused it of not doing enough to protect Jewish students. Meanwhile, the State Department has once again targeted Harvard, launching a probe into a visa exchange program for international students and professors. The Epstein Saga is seeing no signs of going away. Jeffrey Epstein's longtime associate is being questioned for a second day in Florida. Convicted accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell is speaking with the Justice Department as the Trump administration faces growing pressure to release more information on the case. Meanwhile, the Republican Speaker of the House of Congress decided to send members home early for their summer break in a bid to avoid a vote that could have forced the Justice Department to release documents on the convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Here's more on how the White House continues to struggle to contain this political firestorm.
I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt.
President Donald Trump had promised disclosure on the Jeffrey Epstein case. Now that promise is crumbling under new revelations, including one that links Trump's own name to the case. The Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Attorney General Pam Bondi briefed Trump that his name appeared in Department of Justice documents tied to Jeffrey Epstein. The White House later characterized it as a routine update. In February, Bondi told Fox News she had Epstein's client list on her desk. However, in July, she and FBI Director Kash Patel stated that no such list exists. Trump's past social ties to Epstein are documented. His name appeared in released flight logs, and they were photographed together multiple times. There's no evidence of wrongdoing, though, by Trump. After the Wall Street Journal reported that Trump once sent Epstein a birthday card with a lewd sketch, Trump denied it, called it fake, and later sued the paper. Trump claimed he didn't draw pictures, but he's publicly donated drawings in the past, including a sketch of the Empire State Building in 1995. Under pressure from his base, Trump asked Pam Bondi to seek court permission to release grand jury materials from the Epstein investigation. A federal judge in Florida denied that request. In a press appearance that day, Trump deflected from Epstein questions by accusing former President Obama of treason without offering evidence. Later that evening, Trump told Republican lawmakers to redirect reporter questions about Epstein by repeating, "Oh, by the way, Obama cheated in the election." On the 20th of July, Trump shared an AI-generated video of Obama being arrested. It was fake. He also revived attacks on Adam Schiff and Samantha Power in unrelated posts. Earlier in July, Trump defended Bondi against criticism from his own supporters who said she had failed to follow through on document disclosures promised during the campaign. Polling shows mixed Republican sentiment. While some defend Trump, others express concern, including GOP lawmakers who voted to subpoena Department of Justice and Ghislaine Maxwell. Each move to contain the fallout, from denials to diversions, has kept the Epstein story in the headlines, not out of them. With Ridhim Arcadia, NDTV World.
Let's take a closer look at this story. Teresa Helm is a survivor of sexual assault. Helm was assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein in the early 2000s. While studying at a Mossad school in Los Angeles, Teresa was offered a job interview that would lead her to Epstein's close associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. Teresa Helm now joins us live on NDTV. Teresa now works with the National Center for Sexual Exploitation. Teresa, thank you so very much for sharing your story here with NDTV. I know you have advice for women on being on guard about sexual violence, but in order to really understand that, please, if you could first give us a sense of how you were groomed by Ghislaine Maxwell when you were barely 22 years old. You were in LA and flew to New York. What happened?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. So that story was one of those where I was at school working, as a student full-time, working full-time, and I was approached by a fellow student who was further along in the program, which led me to meeting Sarah Cullen at the beach in Los Angeles. These, unbeknownst to me at the time, these two young women were employees or recruiters, you could say, of the Epstein-Maxwell network. And after my very long conversation, in-depth, detailed conversation of what this job opportunity exactly entailed, working for Miss Maxwell, as I was given this description through conversation with Sarah Cullen, then I was flown across the country from Los Angeles to New York City to meet and interview with Miss Maxwell. And Miss Maxwell, as I was introduced to her, she was very polite, kind, very articulate, very emotionally connecting with me on every point and item that I would speak about and talk about with myself, my personal life, where I'm from, what I like to do, everything that I had to say, whether it was about Ohio, where I'm from, whether it was about my father. She had something to add and share and connect with me about the state of Ohio. She had something to add and share and connect with me about her father. She had something to add and connect with me about my birthday and her birthday and how they were one day apart, and how, you know, how that was our experience with that growing up. And so there were so many multiple back-to-back emotional connections. Everything that I was, where I was at in emotion and connection, she was right there with me. And that was what I know now to be an extremely efficient, effective part of the grooming process, which builds trust. The entire point of that is for her to make me feel like I could identify with her, like to make me feel like I belonged there, like I was worthy, like, because I understood very clearly by her beautiful home and photos of presidents on the wall with her in the photo. I was very clear. It was very clear to me that I was surrounded by a successful, powerful woman. However, she made me feel I belonged. And so that trust, that's exactly what she did. I was able to
build. She got you to go and meet Epstein.
That's exactly right. So when she told me that I would be then going to meet her partner Jeffrey, though I had never heard of anyone beyond Miss Maxwell the entire time, whether it was from this girl at the school to Sarah Cullen to Gillen when I first met her, not till the very end of my time with Gillen did she share with me that I was going to meet her partner. And at that point in time, any red flags that rose in me, I was able to, essentially squash them in the with the mindset that this is a safe, healthy woman and I trust her. And now I'm going to go to the second part of the interview and secure the job. So I very much so, I walked there myself. I took myself to his home.
And it was there that you were sexually assaulted.
That is what happened that evening. Yes. After meeting him and his chef and having what I thought to be a lovely conversation at the time with two polite, kind, charming individuals. Yes. Which led me into the assault at Jeffrey Epstein's home that evening.
Teresa, sorry to hear that. Now, there's been a frenzy, as you know, over the Epstein Files. Some years ago, you settled your lawsuit that would have helped out, I guess, with some kind of closure. So why is it really important for you to have these files released and potentially risk reliving all that trauma again?
Well, I would like to say, first of all, risk reliving the trauma. I do believe that myself and likely many, many other women, we experience the re-traumatization on a somewhat ongoing basis. There's so much media, there's so much content, there's so many memes all around that pop up at any given moment. You just really never know. These files, the focus is essentially so important for the survivors like myself and others, though I don't pretend to speak for all of them. However, what needs to happen is the transparency, because you cannot simply say that these things didn't exist when we all know through our lived experience that these are very real events. These are very real things that happened to us, things that we went through and have survived through. And there were certainly people that enabled and perpetuated the entire system, because that's exactly what this has been, a decades long, multiple decades long of a systematic exploitation. Yes.
Teresa, what do you believe is in those files?
There has to be evidence of the people that helped perpetuate the exploitation for decades. And there has to be information regarding perpetrators of sexual assault to many women.
Right. Teresa, as you know, Ghislaine Maxwell is being questioned by the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who was once Trump's personal lawyer. What do you make of that?
I believe questioning Ghislaine Maxwell is a potential, I would even say a slippery slope. What I feel is, how is this woman how is she credible? How could anyone deem her a credible witness? She's been under, prosecution or charged with perjury in the past. I don't believe that what she would have to say is credible. It's extremely difficult for me to even wrap my mind around that. And because why now? Why is she now stating that she has information? She could have long ago.
Teresa, before we let you go, everyday women around the world, they confront similar situations like you have faced. What would you say to them in terms of watching for those signs of grooming that you told us about, or being really on guard for sexual predators?
It's really important, number one, to listen to every single, even if it's the tiniest gut feeling that you have, because that's your truth right there. And while you might even be encouraged by the person or the environment that you're in to disregard those red flags, please do not. That is your internal alarm system, screaming at you to please listen. So that is first and foremost. Secondly, if someone's coming to you and promising you things, and if things do end up being too good to be true, listen to that If someone wants to buy you things, take you places, these are all signs of grooming. If someone wants to,
Indeed.
if someone wants to isolate you even, which happens, sometimes they want to isolate you and kind of cut you off and try to make you feel that they're the only one there for you. These are also additional, signs of grooming. So you just have to listen to yourself and really try to identify
Right.
and stand your ground. It's very, very important.
Teresa, I really appreciate your time here on NDTV, sharing all that with us. Thank you so very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
To our next story now, to what some commentators see as President Trump using distraction tactics amid that Epstein controversy. But still others say it's simply the latest flashpoint in Trump's long-running feud with the man at the helm of the US Central Bank. Trump visited the office of the Federal Reserve, the first such official trip to the Fed by a sitting president in 20 years, seen as an aggressive gesture. Now, the Fed is an independent agency, and Trump has often criticized Powell for not slashing interest rates further and has even floated the idea of firing him. Officially, Trump's visit to the Fed was to check on building renovations that the White House claims has been mismanaged. In a rare public confrontation, Trump clashed with the Fed chairman over renovation costs.
It looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Turning to the Trump administration's battle with Ivy League universities, we saw a truce for one, but the fight got worse for another. Columbia University will pay over $200 million in fines. In exchange, it will have federal funding that was cut off restored. Columbia has faced allegations of failing to protect Jewish students during pro-Palestinian protests amidst the Gaza war. Columbia will also step up reforms and report on its efforts every 6 months. Now, reports say similar deals are being sought with other universities as well. Meanwhile, it's all becoming quite a hassle, really, for Harvard University. The State Department has launched an investigation into the university's use of a visa program that allows the exchange of international students and professors. No wrongdoing has been alleged, but Harvard needs to provide the government with various records by next week. Now, another court has blocked Trump's order on ending birthright citizenship for babies born to illegal migrants and others, such as H-1B visa holders. A federal appeals court in San Francisco ruled Trump's order as unconstitutional, affirming a lower court's decision that blocked nationwide enforcement of Trump's order. It's the first ruling from an appeals court on the matter, which means the issue will likely move quickly back to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court last month had ruled against lower courts issuing sweeping nationwide enforcements, but it had left the door open for legal battles in certain circumstances, like class action lawsuits, which is why the matter bounced back to the lower courts. The Supreme Court has not ruled on the big question if Trump's order on birthright citizenship is in fact illegal. Now, the Trump administration is looking at changing how skilled worker visas are handed out. It's looking to overhaul the so-called lottery system, which is based on a random selection. Each year, 85,000 new H-1B visas are issued by the US using the lottery process. Like we mentioned, it's random, but now, instead of it being just the luck of the draw, the Trump administration wants to give these visas to candidates who basically get higher salaries. That's bad news for, say, junior workers, since they typically draw lower wages. This is, of course, bad news, or definitely affects several Indian workers who claim the highest share of these visas. For more, we're now joined by immigration lawyer Alison Krantz, who joins us from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Alison, thank you for your time here. Alison, this sounds like changes Trump really wanted in his previous term. So basically we're saying here, a higher a person's wage, higher his or her chances of getting the coveted H-1B?
That's right. Very little information is actually available right now. We have a name, And the name is Weighted Selection Process for Registrants and Petitioners Seeking to File CAP Subject H-1B Petitions. But that name certainly reminds us of what the Trump administration proposed and planned on implementing back in 2021. And you're right, that is a weighted selection process based on high salary relative to a particular job's job level and its geographic location. So will this new proposal end up just being a repeat of the 2021 proposal? We'll have to wait and see. But obviously, the title suggests that this might be a repeat.
Alison, Vice President J.D. Vance just this week alluded to how IT companies could be misusing H-1B visas. Basically, instead of hiring Americans who might command these higher salaries, they opt for junior foreign talent brought in here on lower wages. Is that pretty much the rationale for looking at doing away with the lottery system?
Well, not just abuses, but right now with the lottery system is completely random, right? There's no extra criteria that allows someone to be selected over someone else, with the one exception that 20,000 of the 85,000 visas available are reserved for individuals who recently completed their U.S. master's degrees. Other than that, it's a completely random process. And so, yes, there has been occasionally concerns brought up about U.S. employers abusing the system. However, this is a larger overhaul than that. This is not just a measure to prevent abuses. This is a measure to prioritize who gets selected and who doesn't get selected. Generally, in my experience and the experience of most U.S. immigration attorneys, fraud and misuse of the program is very rare because it's not easy to actually sponsor someone for an H-1B visa. It's actually rather expensive and time-consuming.
Indeed. Alison Craggs, we'll have to leave it there for now. Thank you for your time here. It's the weekend and time to unwind. In Portland, Oregon, there's a new cocktail option in town, one with a desi twist, cocktails made with pan ruafsa and curry leaves, and it's not an Indian serving up these innovative drinks, but a Gora Uncle instead.
My name is Jim French, and I'm Gora Uncle. I run an Indian-inspired cocktail bar here in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, Gora Uncle, white uncle. Well, in India, I was always called uncle when I was visiting there, even when I was actually quite young sometimes. Yeah, we have a drink called the Gora Uncle. It's made with an Indian-inspired liqueur that comes out of Canada called John Pan, based on the pan, flavor of pan itself, and some ruafza. I spent most of last year in India itself traveling around, so I got to see kind of the explosion of cocktail bars. Those bars are reaching back into Indian culinary history itself, and I think it's really exciting to be a part of that. Rack Punch for one, which is made with Indian jaggery and nutmeg. Cusk Garland is one of our most popular drinks. It's got melon lassi, vodka and salted rose petal sugar in it. And it's an easy drink for my customers to approach because they know what a lassi is. So they get it, it's refreshing, it's cold, and we sell a lot of them. We just added the PM Old Fashioned to our menu, made with toasted basmati rice and Indian sarsaparilla. So Indian sarsaparilla is big in Tamil Nadu. It's called nanari there. They make a traditional sharbat with the nanari. The pina colada is inspired directly from a South Mumbai bar called Wink. The pina colada has pineapple, scotch, a little bit of coffee, and curry leaf.
Pina colada. It's very savory, it tastes like a cracker.
The star ingredient in our Chota Sangam is a Kashmiri spiced akavit, and then we include saffron and fennel. And those are very familiar ingredients in Kashmir that round out the masala that we use in that. We categorized our cocktail menu on 3 adventure levels. So adventure level 1 is easy to drink, adventure level 2 might be a bit more unfamiliar to people, and adventure level 3 I'm so thrilled. This is one of the things I'm so happy about, is to see a lot of my white customers going straight to level 3.
Oh, it's an adventure for me. I feel like I'm getting like a taste of India when I'm here.
My goal and my happiness here is to show a side of India that is a contemporary side of India, a side of India that's exciting to be a part of.
Something for teetotalers? Well, sodas are coming with a new twist, one full of presidential policy. It's a wrap. Thanks for your company here on Washington Watch.